This is Scott here once again with Abundance Coaching TV, and welcome here. Abundance Coaching TV is life coaching TV that makes a difference. And today we're going to be talking about an exciting topic. The title for our episode today is Being Authentic Will Get You What You Want. How authentic are you? How authentic are you with what you're doing in your life, with who you are? Are you being real? Or is there something more that you could be in your life? Well, that's the importance of this topic today, because people struggle with authenticity. They don't know what it means. Sometimes it's hard to be genuine. It's hard to be sincere. I know for myself, I've struggled with as my identity. Even when I was in high school, I wasn't like that much in high school. And I remember trying to fit in. And I would do whatever people would expect for me to do, and I would just go along with a lot of things. Because in high school, I really just look back and I know that I just wanted to have friends. I just wanted to belong somehow. And I was from the neighboring town coming into a community where I didn't belong at the beginning. And as a result, you may feel similar feelings as I felt, but I didn't feel like I was really measuring up unless I had a social network. So I do stupid things. For an example, I would just take stupid dares, and I would do these dares, and I would do dumb pranks. For an example, I hid in a box. It was a refrigerator box, and it was in math class. And during math class, I was there the entire time in this big refrigerator box, and I poked a little hole in it, and I was just being a tease to the kids as the teacher was writing on the board, and I would come and I'd wave, and then I'd duck back down. Really, that was a stunt to be noticed. And yeah, I was a bit of a joker, and I had a fun spirit at that time, but looking back, as I dig down and I feel the layers, it was really me trying to belong. And perhaps in life, there's a place where you're trying to belong. There's a place where you're trying to just fit in, to be welcome. Or it could even be different. It could be that you're doing something that you know is just wrong right now, and you're covering it up with other tracks. You feel like perhaps your life isn't going the direction that you want to, so you're living a different life. You're maybe living a facade. I have clients, and I've talked to lots of people who have different types of habits, and there's different cover-ups we have with habits. So much so, people start believing what the lies that they tell themselves, so much that they would even pass a lie detector test because they believe the lies that they're telling themselves as if they're truth. They've told themselves those lies so often. So this is a real topic about authenticity and how to get to the bottom of authenticity. I'm going to be interviewing today an expert on the topic. Her name is Connie Thanasoulis-Cerrachio, and she's from New York City. She's worked on Wall Street for many years. She has a company called SixFigureStart that she co-runs and owns. And she has incredible insight from the job search, job market, working on Wall Street, helping people find jobs in high executive positions with authenticity. Now, what we're noticing with HR departments is that people are needing to be very real. There could have been a time in the past, and maybe you could identify with this, where people just needed to hire, but certainly in a climate or in an environment where employers are looking for employees that have high quality skills, that have integrity, that have character. They're looking for the authentic person behind what they say. They're not just looking for, yes, I'm good at leadership, I'm good at character, I'm good at team building. All those are just words, but what is really behind the layers? Are you real? I had an interesting conversation today with someone who's a family member. And in this conversation, this person got real with me about their situation. They got real with me because they were not where they wanted to be. In fact, for a period of time, they were so far away from where they wanted to be, it's not even funny. And without getting into any details about this situation, I respected this person because they came to me sharing authentically what they experienced in that situation, and how even though they were totally as far away from where they wanted to be or what was good, they found a way to take the good out of it. And in addition to that, when I had this conversation, it got past those first layers of superficial, like how are you going today, to the real authentic deep stuff. Another story to share with you, I had a client session today, and at a certain point I just felt the need to share a personal story. And in this personal story, it was a story of hardship on my own behalf. And because of the sensitivity of this story, I won't share it right now, but I had a really difficult year. And with the difficulties that I have had, being a leader, I needed to rise above. And I found that in this particular season of my life that I needed people to come beside me, because I was being drained in one way, and I needed their cup to help me to overflow into my life. When I've often seen myself as someone who is the one filling other people's cups, I have needed in this season other people to come into my life and fill my cup up. And as I went into this story, my client really got something for themselves. And it hit home for them about how real their story is and the importance of what they're doing is. And it was a really good moment. And there's stories all over the place, and there's a story inside of you. This episode today is for you. This episode is for you to connect with your authentic, amazing self, to connect with authenticity, to be real with yourself. Where are you in your life? I want you to just stop everything that you're doing. If you're watching this and double tasking, triple tasking, quadruple tasking right now, stop what you're doing and pause with me and ask yourself this question. Where are you in your life? And then ask yourself how real I am with who I am. And even ask yourself, am I being authentic right now in my life? My calling as a life coach is to help people connect with their authentic, amazing self so that they can live with passion and have abundance in life. And I love it because when I connect people with their authentic, amazing self, change happens. Because they want to be known. They want to know who they are. They want to have motivation. They want to live in their passions. They want to figure out how to get whatever it is inside of them out, because really they're amazing. And you are amazing. You were created as someone that's incredible. You are incredibly designed by a great God. You are amazing. You are amazing. Period. No, but I did this. No, but you don't know me like that. No, you are amazing. So, we're going to get on with the show. And I have an incredible guest. You don't want to miss this guest. Her name is Connie Thanasoulis-Cerrachio. She is, like I said, a part owner of SixFigureStart. She's a career coach, a writer, a speaker, a Generation Y expert. And she has 25 years experience working with Fortune 500 companies, including Merrill Lynch, Pfizer, Citigroup. Most recently, Connie was the CEO, or Chief Operating Officer of Merrill Lynch Campus Recruiting. And in that occupation, she helped streamline the campus recruiting efforts for the United States with that of Europe and the Pacific Rim rim regions. So this person is incredibly qualified to talk about authenticity, as she has done incredible things with her business. But I'm excited to introduce her to you. Before we do that, I'm just going to cue her up, and we're just going to queue up at that time a quick little advertisement video, and we'll be right back with you. We'll see you in a moment.
When you were younger, you dreamed about life. You believed that you would be able to achieve greatness and that you would become incredible. You were a winner, and you would defend your dream against any challenges. Somewhere you may have lost some of that winning spirit, and the champion in you may have faded. Your life coach will help you become that champion again. You're not expected to battle through life alone. Making positive changes takes guidance and direction. Your coach will defend you and pick you up when you get knocked down. Your coach will stand in your corner and back you when you feel weak. Your coach will lead you when you need direction and provide you with wisdom that will put your goals back on track. Partner with a champion whose goal is to see you soar to the summit of your dreams. At Abundance Coaching, our goal is to take your great and make it greatness. Hi, I'm Scott F., and I believe that each of us can live awesome lives that are filled with abundance. Abundance is believing that you are more than enough, you have more than enough, and that more than enough is coming to you in the future. Having abundance in life is about allowing yourself to find harmony in every area of your life. Abundance is not a destination. It is a mindset and an awesome way of life, and you can have it too. You will be empowered and encouraged by our life coaching approach. You will get clarity in what you really want out of life and get what you want faster. We believe that life coaching is about having intentional, purposeful, and powerful conversations that are focused on you moving forward. Together, we will push through the obstacles that block you from reaching your full potential. Do you want to realize an authentic, purposeful, and powerful way of living? Do you need a change? Do you want more abundance in life? Let's start the process that will take your great and make it greatness.
All right, welcome back. We're live here with Connie Thanasoulis-Cerrachio. Welcome to the show, Connie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's so nice to be here.
All right. Woohoo. Awesome. Cool. So you're out there in New York right now, hey?
I am. And it was a beautiful sunny day today. You could really feel like it's spring.
All right. Awesome. So, Connie, we've known each other for a couple of years now, actually, now that I think back to it. Mm-hmm. And I invited you on the show for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is I really like you. I think that you are a perfect example of somebody who's authentic. And this topic couldn't belong to somebody more than you. So I'm glad you're here with us.
Thank you so much.
So I introduced you already as, all the different things that you've done. But can you just give us your version of what you do and what it means? Some people that are watching this show, they'll get what job search is and they'll understand some things. But other people, just give us a better idea as to what you actually do.
Sure. I'm a success coach, so I help individuals achieve maximum success, whether it's in their career, so if they're employed and they want to do a better job and progress steadily in their career, so they'll hire me to do executive coaching. Sometimes the bosses hire me for their staffs, and I sit there and I brainstorm with them about how to do better, whether it's more sales, managing others, things like that. So I guess the phrase is executive coaching, right?
Yeah.
But how I started my business was I'm a job search coach as well. So I had 25 years of staffing on Wall Street. So I hired thousands and thousands of people. I know exactly why certain people are hired and other people are not. And I think that that will always be a part of my business because I love it so much. And because it just brings me a lot of joy to have people find their careers. And the job search is not rocket science. It's just applying a couple of success strategies the right way, customizing it for your approach. So we do both things. We do job coach, and actually just starting last month, we're doing quite a lot of job search coaching with the military that is making the transition from military to civilian life.
Oh, wow.
So that's something that I have a lot of respect for the military, and we're able to help them quite quickly because they're so good at what they do in the military. They have such strengths like teamwork and leadership and communication skills and all the technical things that they know. So we just have to redirect that into business life. And so I was up at West Point a couple of weeks ago. We're working with a battalion commander now to help his troops that are transitioning. So that's an extra special part of our business now.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yes, I forgot to tell you that before when we were talking.
Yeah, that's a great segue for sure. So today's topic is authenticity and getting what you want with authenticity. So what is authenticity, Connie? Like, what is it? What does it mean?
I think being authentic is being true to who you are. I think it's being genuine. If you look it up in a dictionary, it does say genuine. It does mean true to yourself, not counterfeit. So being authentic means letting the inside show on the outside. What you see is what you get. Authenticity. I do believe that it's a secret to success because if you are authentic and if everything is in alignment to who your true self is, then it's so much easier to achieve things. If you try to be somebody else and try to answer in a different way for different people because you have different motives to do different things, I do believe that that comes out. And I do believe that people don't like that, that inconsistency. And, you know, people are so smart. You can sniff it out when someone is not being authentic. So I do believe it touches upon every aspect of your life, whether you're employed, unemployed, and looking for employment. It doesn't matter. Your authentic self, if strong enough and true, it will make you memorable. People will remember who you are. I remember, I'll just give you an example. I worked at Merrill Lynch for 7 years. I was the head of asset management staffing, and then I was the chief operating officer for all campus recruiting firm-wide. And there was a gentleman, and I used to recruit in asset management. I used to be in Princeton, New Jersey. So Princeton, New Jersey was about an hour from New York City. So everyone wanted to be in New York City, but no one wanted to be in Princeton, New Jersey. So I used to buy a book. It was called The Newcomer's Guide to Princeton. So it would show all the great things about the city. And I would place probably a $10,000 order every year to get these books so that I would give to the people that I was trying to hire. And the guy who sold the book to me was such a nice guy. His name was Jeremy. And Jeremy would come to see me, and sometimes he'd have a headache, and I'd always have aspirin and cold water. Sometimes his briefcase was falling over or whatever, and I was like, sit down, relax. You know, I really liked him. I don't know why, I just liked him. He was such a nice man. Anyway, left Merrill Lynch. I never really told him I placed an order in a couple of years. And he called me 2 years after I started my own business. He said, Connie, I can't believe you didn't tell me you left Merrill Lynch. You and I were friends. You know, how can I help you with your business? I want to do whatever I can do to help you. He said, I have relationships with over 200 companies. What can I do for you? So like if you have a business and you
Wow.
hear those words, they're beautiful words. So I think it's because I think he remembered me because it was an honest, I really liked him and I was kind to him and respectful of him. And I don't think everybody was. And I think he remembered me for that, and and we had that we have that friendship even till today.
You know what? That's an awesome story. That's a great story because it also brings to light that we don't we don't do things with expectations that we're going to
Right.
get all this stuff in return. And I
Exactly.
don't get that at all from you in that story, that you ever did anything expecting that Jeremy was going to give you a bunch in return.
Exactly.
But through authenticity and you just putting your hand out there and just being a friend to him, something great happened too.
I think so. And I know, I certainly remember when people went the extra mile and did something for me. I mean, I always remember that. And I think that people underestimate. You know, I teach a lot of people about networking because through, 80% of the jobs that you get today, that people, whenever they land, 80% of the people who land got the job through a networking contact.
Yeah.
Not that they just reached out and said, do you have a job? And they said yes. Not because of that, but because they've stayed in touch with people, they have relationships with people, and it resulted in them staying in touch and someone saying, oh, Scott, I know a great job for you. Let me make an introduction. So 80% of the people get jobs that way. And you can't network effectively if you're not genuine, if you're not authentic.
Right.
Because then if you only network because you want something, they're going to sniff it out. And it's, we don't want to be around people like that, and we don't want to be people like that. So I do think that that's a big deal in networking, and networking is business and business is networking. I mean, we cannot have businesses without being networked.
It's so
It's
true.
It's important.
It's so true. I just, as you were saying that, it just brought me back to the project that we did years ago and
Yes.
how you interviewed Ivan Meisner in that project.
Wow.
Because, wow, talk about networking. And I really appreciated some of the things that he said because I watched that interview a couple times now. And I should say, for the people that don't know that, he's the founder of BNI. So there's a little insight for you. And what I appreciated about some of the things that he said was that in networking, so many people go to networking events expecting that they're going to get something out of it. And they're
Right.
looking for the one or two people that maybe can help them, but they're not willing to give anything. They're not there to actually go out there and help anybody. They're looking to
Right.
get everything out of it, right?
It's true. Boy, Ivan was so fantastic in that interview because he's built the world's largest networking organization. And for those of you who don't know what BNI is, it's you get a group of people together and they try to help you with your business and you try to help them with yours. And really, the more you give, the more you're going to get. Without a doubt, the more you give, the more you're going to get. So BNI is a unique organization. Networking is at its core. And it's a wonderful thing. Networking is all about giving. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to network because I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that, and I'm going to get this. It's really about giving. And when you see people who genuinely love to give, like, for example, I have a friend, his name is Frank Cacavalli. He's my accountant. And he gave a referral to someone which culminated in $400,000 worth of business. Can you imagine?
Whoa!
$400,000 worth of business. So, I mean, the pure joy that Frank gets out of seeing that business owner, be so happy about it, and that's what differentiates people being a true giver.
Oh, that's such a good story. Right on. So let's bring it back to authenticity again, because
Yep.
somebody's out there and they're watching and they don't feel like their stomach's turning right now, because this is a hard topic for some people. You and I both know we're in coaching, so at a certain point, we get to talk with people about being real, and one of my favorite lines in coaching is like, hey, by the end of this call, I would rather have you say Scott was real to me today with me, and we got something done because he was real to me and I saw something, and that helped. Rather than, hey, I had this nice call and Scott was really nice to me and I feel good now and that's all. So when you're real with somebody, that helps. But we're on this kind of this coaching platform, seeing things the other way. From somebody on the other side, somebody who's looking for let's give an example right in your field, that's looking for a job and they're not that confident and they're not that sure of themselves, they don't really know themselves, what do they have to do?
That's a really good question. When someone is looking for a job, and I guess it would be best if I gave an example. One of my clients, Andrea, left her job to go to another company. She got about a 15% raise, and she felt really good about that. 6 months, and she was a superstar at this place. 6 months later, her manager, who was a little manipulative, and the whole staff filled her in on that. In the 6 months, they're like, look, you may be her favorite now, but in a little while you're not going to be, so just get ready for it. Well, 6 months after, her manager said, you're very talented, but it turns out our company doesn't really need the talent that you bring. So we only need you 4 days a week. So we're going to lower your salary by 20% and take 1 day off a week. And I have to say, she was devastated. She called me up. She said, I feel like such a loser. I feel like I left my company that loved me and respected me, and here I am 6 months later. And, she said she doesn't need my talent. She said, I feel like a loser. I said, well, and so for her to be authentic about that.
Yeah.
And, it is not easy for someone to say, I feel like a loser.
Yeah.
I feel like a failure. Those are hard words for someone to say. But the beauty of saying it to the right person is that the coach can then go in there, and now I know what to do. I knew exactly what I needed to do. Because I said, Andrea, I know your background. I know how people respect the work that you do. I know the quality of the work that you put out. You are in no way, shape, or form are you a loser.
Yeah.
You just got into a sticky situation. But you also were given a gift. You were given a gift of Fridays off. We are going to funnel your job search to completely on Fridays. So you don't even have to say, I have a doctor's appointment. I'm not feeling well today. You don't have to even do that. You don't have to play that game, which everyone gets a pit in their stomach when they have to do that,
Yeah.
So I said, now we have complete control over your job search. You are going to land somewhere great. It's just going to take a little time, but now you're still employed, so don't worry about it. Well, we executed a job search. It took about 5 months, because she was at a high level. She was making over $250,000.
Okay.
At the end of that time, she had 3 job offers, one for $290, one for $300, and one for $295. I mean, right in the same neighborhood. And she took the $300, and last December, so she's been there a year and a half, they paid her $350.
All right.
Because they love her so much. So she was authentic in saying, I feel like a failure, which was the great thing to do, because now I jumped in and we took control, and I proved to her she wasn't, and then I helped her with her scripting, and I kept her so busy she had no time to think about the other places. So it really worked out well. It worked out so incredibly well. But I think you have to be authentic to be able to hit bottom and say, I feel awful. And that's not the case. A young man, he was looking for a job for 12 months before he contacted me. And he had a master's degree. But I knew the minute he contacted me, we met, I knew what was holding him back. He was extremely chatty and he would go on and on. You could not stop this kid from talking. And when you interview, that's a red flag that pops up in someone's head that says, I don't know, this guy's always talking kind of thing. But I think the ability to ask for help is a very authentic move when you really need it. I mean, people, you have to be authentic when you really need help. The ability to ask for it differentiates people. People that ask for help will get it 9 times out of 10. People that don't ask for help, just like they become like an atlas, you know, like the world.
Yeah.
They're carrying the world on their shoulders, and it's so unfortunate to do that. So unfortunate. It's almost to be or to authentically ask for help frees you in a way where some people just aren't able to do that, unfortunately.
Right on. So I'm going to take that as a takeaway for the audience at this time. So who do you need to ask for help? And how can you be more authentic with yourself by saying, I need help with this, or I don't have all the answers, or finding a mentor that can help you with these things, or a coach or somebody that can help you with these things? Because it's really important, isn't it, to find the real you inside of everything.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to, and asking for help is a sign of strength. It's the strongest people out there have coaches. I mean, I'm a big tennis fan, so I like Rafael Nadal, and Rafa, as I like to call him. And Rafa, whenever he wins something, I think he just won the BNP Paribas Open. He holds up the trophy and he says, "I want to thank my 7 coaches." You know, I mean, Derek Jeter has 8 coaches. He's got a hitting coach, a fielding coach, a running coach. He's got a coach for everything because you build yourself up, you strengthen yourself. So to have that humble ability to accept the help, to accept feedback, it's a sign of strength.
Yeah, great point. Let me hear some stories. I love stories. And there's somebody out there right now that wants to know more about what you do, because you really have a fascinating career. You know that, right?
Thank you, Scott. I do. I'm very happy with it.
And part of the fascination that what I'm appealed to that I think is great, and what you probably are appealed to too, is that you get to talk to a large variety of people, and you're not just recruiting for low-level, entry-level positions. You're recruiting, a lot of them are executive-level positions, and some of these people, like you mentioned earlier, they're $300,000+ per year jobs. So I'm going to cast a scenario, and we're going to go with just company X, just because. And you have 15 people that you're interviewing, and your job is to get through 15 people in one day. And they're all lined up at their certain times, and they're all in the hallway, and you're in your office, and you're tasked with this job, and you know that you have to find somebody, that your future employer is looking for somebody successful that's going to fill the gap and help turn around their company because it's an executive level position. Who are you going to pick out of the 15, and what kind of qualities do they have?
Sure. I think the way I'm going to pick the best one is based on the stories that they tell me. If they prove to me that they have what it takes to succeed. So as an interviewer, I have skills and requirements of a job, and a candidate has skills and backgrounds. And if there's a match, a good match, we're going to have a good hire. So I'm going to ask behavioral questions. So behavioral questions are based on past behavior being an indicator of future behavior. So what is your biggest strength? Give me your top 3 strengths. Tell me about your biggest accomplishments. These are all things that were in their past behaviors. I'm going to hire someone who says, sure, my biggest strengths are my communication skills, my ability to work well in teams, and to lead. Let me give you an example of each. So it's in the example that proves they have the strength. If someone just says, oh, I'm a good team player and I have leadership skills, anyone can say that. But if you give me a detailed example of how you led a team, so for example, I was a leader of a cross-functional team of 5 people. We had to implement a new technology that had to decrease errors of new account openings. And it was a 2-month project. And I'm really happy to say that we decreased errors by 90%. And we finished under budget and before we even had to, before the 2-month time frame. Let me tell you how I did it. And then, they're telling me a story.
Wow.
Today, I did a mock interview today with a young man. A mock interview is just a practice interview, and it's better to practice with someone before, you're in front of your ideal employer. And he was telling me that one of his strengths, can I give you one of his examples?
Do it, yeah.
He said one of his strengths was the fact that he was responsible. One of his biggest, his proudest moments was when the bagel store owner gave him a key and said, "I trust you to open and I trust you to close," which is a big deal. I mean, the store makes like $400,000 a year, so it's a big deal for this 19-year-old
Sure.
to have that responsibility. Well, one of the things that he was supposed to do, I asked him what was a mistake he made and what did he learn from it. And one of the mistakes he made was one of the employees was supposed to, like in a bagel store, they make the dough.
Yeah.
They make the dough, and then there's a big vat where it's full of water and they boil the bagels.
Right.
So what happens is when you leave the store, you have to fill the vat full of water because at 3 in the morning, a timer automatically goes on and starts to heat that warm water, which takes about 2 hours to do because it's so big. Well, he forgot to fill that vat of water, and the automatic timer went on with no water in it. So I was sitting there saying, "What happened? Did it break? How much did that thing cost? What happened?" Like in my mind, I'm so into the story now. So he told me, well, the good news was that the owner got there just after it started and realized what had happened, and he took care of it, and it was all okay. But who's going to forget that story?
Yeah.
About, this piece of equipment that had to be tens of thousands of dollars that could have broken, and what he learned from it. So I was very impressed with that because he seemed like a really serious young man. And in fact, when I got home, there was a thank you note in my email. He said, "I want to thank you so much for your feedback. I learned so much during the interview." And he really was one of my favorites because he had these great stories. Now, this young man was really serious. He was not an extrovert, I could tell.
Yeah.
He was very much an introvert, but his stories captivated me. So
Wow.
you don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to worry if you're an introvert. It's the stories you tell. My mother used to always say, "Don't ever tell a lie, you won't remember it." It's true, right? You will not.
So true.
If you lie, you will forget, and then you'll have to say another lie, and now you're in a mess, right? So, as long as you're true to yourself, as long as you're truly telling me your stories, you'll never forget them. And he said to me, "Could you give me some tips on not being nervous during an interview?" I said, "Yeah, just tell your stories." Because they're your stories, they're authentic to you. You're not going to forget them. So tell them authentically. Don't try to make them bigger than they are. Don't make them smaller than they are. They are your stories, and that's what I want to hear. I don't care that you manage $100 million budget or a $10,000 budget. I want to know how you did it. I want to know the details of why it was successful. I didn't care that it was $1 million or $10. I just wanted to see that there was thought and the thought process was there and that it was a successful project.
Right.
And then mistakes too, because you learn so much from them too.
Right on. See, and now what you're doing here is you're giving examples of how I would hire you. Because you're telling me stories that get me interested in you.
It's the story, the 4 most powerful words in the English language are, "Tell me a story." Little kids, you have little kids, right?
I do.
Don't they love stories?
Oh, every night. Yep.
And yes, they love stories. Well, so do adults love stories. And I think it was IBM's chairman, Lou Gerstner, I believe, that started this whole movement of telling stories as being a way to show who you are. And to show there are certain stories you're just not going to forget. And the more honest the story, the more memorable you as a candidate will be. So getting back to your original question, if I had to interview 15 people, I would interview the person who gave me the most specific stories from beginning to end, and that definitely had the skills necessary to do the job. When an interview becomes more like a conversation, that's a very good sign.
Right.
And you do that by knowing yourself and being able to show yourself in a very open way. You know, we ask for your strengths and your weaknesses for we ask for weaknesses for 4 reasons. One, we're all human. We all have mistakes. We all have weaknesses. So I need to make sure you're aware enough to share that. I also think you have to be humble enough to share that. I also think they can't be a core component of the job. And there's a human connection when you speak about weaknesses, because no one loves it, but you have to embrace it because we all have them. Warren Buffett said that if there was one reason why he was successful in life, and he does say there are many reasons why I was successful, but if I had to only pick one, I would pick that I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm not good at, and I do something about it. So,
Yeah.
Being self-aware enough to say, okay, these are my strengths, these are the things I'm not good at, let me do something about it. I used to kind of shake when I got in front of people, when I had to do a presentation. I remember in 2001, it was my first week at Merrill Lynch, and I had to present very quickly after joining. I didn't know these people. I hated presenting, and my hand was actually shaking while I was in front of the room. And boy, I was so embarrassed by that. And I made a conscious effort. I said, I do not want to shake like that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a director. I want to make sure I project. So I started to observe people that presented well. I read books about it. I picked up successful parts of other people's presentations and incorporated them into my own. So I was very conscious that I wanted to present well. So now my weaknesses today are far from what my weaknesses were 10 years ago, and they'll be different 10 years from now. So you just have to be aware. You have to be aware of yourself.
That's a great point. And I do some coaching with some people too on speeches and public speaking, and you and I both have done lots of Toastmaster stuff, as you know. And recently I've been working with a client, and he works for a higher company here where I live in my hometown. And one of the things that he was asked to do this year was public speaking.
Okay.
And he's never done it before. Never once. And it's interesting to see a grown man really determined for something, yet so frightful of what could happen. And that's real because so many people have that. But what I can also say is that he's practicing what you just said there with Warren Buffett's quote, is that he is finding a way to get a solution for that. And I think that he's right. He said, the 2 things that I feel that future employers like what he has really want to look for are computer skills and public speaking skills. Those are the 2 skills that he felt would be like the differentiators with the people that would be hired or the people that would succeed in those roles. And I thought, yeah, you're probably right. And anyway, in his estimation, just by him going out and hiring me, because it's an investment to hire someone one-on-one to work on his speech, work on presentation, and all of that, he's gonna blow the top off what his confidence level is. And I just want to hear his story after he's done this once, because his job's going to require for him to do this over and over again. And I want to see him in a year, because when you push yourself like that, so much happens.
What a difference it's going to be. Practice is everything. I mean, practice and some good coaching in between is everything, because that objectivity will help him a tremendous amount. Yeah, it's all practice.
Right on. Cool. Okay, I love to do full circles, so I'm bringing us right back to the topic again of authenticity, and I have a quote here for you, okay?
Okay. Okay.
And I'm a fan of Norman Vincent Peale's stuff. Okay, so here's a quote right from him. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. What do you think about that quote?
Say it one more time, please.
Ready to go? So
Yep.
Norman Vincent Peale said, believe in yourself, have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy.
I agree. I mean, I'm a big fan of Norman Vincent Peale as well. You have to believe in yourself. You know, the world is a tough place sometimes, and having that belief in yourself can transcend a lot of other things. If you don't think yourself worthy, and you're always putting yourself down, you will become what your thoughts are. You do become your thoughts. So you have to, if you're not an optimist, if you're not someone who truly does see things on the brighter side, I think you can train yourself to do that. I think it takes practice, just like anything else. It's not rocket science, but you have to become your thoughts. And if you want yourself to be more positive, you have to maybe leave a little note at the base of your computer screen, or where you brush your teeth. I don't know where you're going to put it, but you do have to believe in your abilities. You have to. The smartest people read and learn from great people like Norman Vincent Peale, or Dr. Wayne Dyer is a hero of mine, and I always feel better. Tony Robbins is that big success guru that he motivates a lot of people. Find someone who can help you believe in yourself if you can't do it yourself. I remember it's amazing how things happen. I was so young. I was 18. I was so in love with this, boy in high school, and, he dumped me, and I was devastated. And I remember my mom was going to visit her brother. He moved to West Virginia, and the family, a couple of us went to a trip, and I was like, oh, I'm so depressed, going there. But I don't know how this book got in my hands from Dr. Wayne Dyer. I don't know how it happened, but I started to read it, and I started to just come alive. I was like, oh, so what? So what? He broke my heart. He doesn't want me. It's his problem, not my problem. I'm not going to dwell on that. There's someone out there for me. I couldn't believe the difference in one chapter that I read, and I've since read about 7 or 8 of his books. He is an amazing person. So if you can't make that leap to feeling better about yourself, read something. I tell people who want to learn to network, read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill is a phenomenal author who really makes you realize the power within. I mean, we are all amazing. We have amazing potential. So if you can't believe in yourself, find someone to help you do that, because it is such a waste to live your life if you don't.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, it's a waste. I mean, I read a quote. It was so nice. It said, you only live once, and that's all you need if you live right, if you do it right, or something like that. And it's true. If you live your life the way you should and feel good about yourself, because there are plenty of people that, could knock you down, but they don't have control over you unless you allow them to. So you have to believe in yourself, because it all starts with that. You have to. I read an excellent book, and I found it the other day. I mean, the jacket's ripped off the book. It's all crumpled. It's so old, and I love it. It's such a treasure, and it's called The Art of Selfishness.
Ooh.
And if you're selfish if you make sure you're okay. You can't help anyone if you're not okay. So you must be selfish in order to help others. So it's just an incredible paradox, right? The art of selfishness. So I think you have to believe in yourself. You have to be true to who you are. You have to be authentic, because then all the stars are in alignment. You know those tests that people take, Myers-Briggs?
Sure. Yeah.
Or
Personality.
the DISC test assessment will ask you for it to be true, for the result of the assessment to be true. They must ask you the same question 7 or 8 different ways. Sometimes 10 or 15 different ways.
Yeah.
Just because the more they ask you a question in a different way, the truer the results are. Okay. So if you're not if you're authentic, you know how many decisions do we make in a given day? Like 500 minimum.
Yeah.
We make 200
Tons.
decisions on what to eat alone. Then we make decisions on where to drive or where to walk or what to say or what to look at. You know, TV. Oh my God, the remote in your hand. How many channels can you go through in 60 seconds? I mean, we all let's get
I'm
real.
stopping on hockey.
Okay.
My choice is easy. Is my team playing or not?
So we make all these decisions, and you're going to land where you're going to land because you want to be there. So people are going to observe what you're looking at, what you're watching, what you're saying, what you're doing. And if there's no authenticity there, they're going to not trust you. But if you're true to what you like to watch and see and do, then there's that trust. The trust factor is there. It's an amazing thing, I think. But as you go through a day, if you're working with a group of people, they are going to see behaviors that will determine whether they think you're an authentic person or not. You can't hide it. There's no way you can hide it. I don't think.
Right on. And as someone who does interviews for part of your living,
Yes.
you have a way of being able to see through someone who's being phony or just giving you a line or practicing or rehearsing what should be said.
You can tell someone's not giving you an authentic answer if it lacks detail, if it lacks specificity, if it lacks outcome. You could see the wheels turning in their head if they're trying to make something up. And then there's all the deer in the headlights look, you know, when you ask them something on their resume and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you know that's really bad. But if the answers lack depth, and listen, not everybody's going to give you a full answer. Sometimes you have to probe. So if I say to somebody, tell me about your biggest accomplishment, and they say, yeah, sure, I'll tell you about, I grew my fraternity to double the size that it was when I first took the presidency over. And then they pause. So I said, well, what was the size and where did it end up? So they say, oh, there were 10 people and now there's 20. Okay, how long did it take you to do that? How did you do it? So I'll always probe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if there's nothing there or if they're all over the place, then I think maybe not the best, example or not the best interview candidate.
Yeah.
So it's a culmination of all of their responses. I really only have to ask 4 or 5 questions, to be honest. That's really all that I do, pretty much.
Yeah. You can tell pretty fast.
I think so.
Yeah.
Strengths, I'll tell the audience here, strengths and weaknesses, biggest accomplishments. Tell me about a time you led a team and what was your role and what was the accomplishment. Tell me about a mistake that you made and why you're interested in this business. That's basically what I ask. And I get a tremendous amount of information from that. And I'll probe. But, and then also the body language of the person is very important.
Oh,
because,
sure.
There were books on body language, right?
Yeah.
So if someone says, this is the job I love doing, if they put their hand here, it means they truly mean it. If they put their head down, not good. They look up.
I really love this job. That's not good.
So it's body language in itself is very, very interesting. So just the moves people make, whether they smile or not, their eye contact, very important. When they look at you when they answer a question, typically when someone is not telling you the truth, they will not. Or they'll do it in such a way where they're trying like really hard to keep it, and they don't want to. You can tell. But listen, the best thing to do whether you're looking for a job or whether you're in a career and you just want to do better, is to be yourself. And if you feel that there's something you need to strengthen, have that strength to find out how to do it. Either read or talk, research it, whatever it's got to do. Have that strength to do better. And there really should be no stopping you. You'll be true to yourself, you'll be authentic, people will see it, and you'll progress. We're always in a constant state of learning more and improving ourselves. That's really how we should be anyway.
Right on. That's an excellent way of putting it. So I have a couple more questions, and then at the end I want the audience to get to know how they can get to know you more and find out more about that. But there's a few questions that I think these are more personal questions because I know you and I know some of your stories. But there was a story that you told me just before we had this interview that I think would be really helpful for the audience to hear. In spite of the fact that it took a pit in your story for things to really rise above, but you used to work for Merrill Lynch as your last official place.
For a job, yes.
For a job, and now you own SixFigureStart.
Correct.
So, can you tell that story that you told us about how you came to be a co-owner of SixFigureStart?
Sure. Well, I was on Wall Street for 25 years, and I built my career up I graduated NYU in 1984, and I just got an entry-level position at Citigroup at the time, and I loved it. I loved working in Manhattan. I loved working for these companies. I loved human resources and hiring people. Then I took my skills to Lambert, and I loved it there because I learned about the pharmaceutical industry, and then I got recruited back to Merrill Lynch, and I had a slightly different job where I hired experienced people, then back to campus. So I really did love my job. And then a year before, around 24-year mark, I started to say, I don't think I love it anymore.
Oh, no.
Leave. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I had saved up some of my money, and I had a little cushion, and my husband, thankfully, knock on wood, had a great job. But I said to myself, I don't want to be here anymore. And I felt like every day when I took the bus to work, I felt like, I'm so embarrassed to say it, but I felt like I was going to jail. I was in jail for 10 hours a day, and I didn't want to be there, but I had... And I don't mean to say to boast, but I had built a salary that was more than I ever thought I would be making. And to walk away from that, I felt that it wasn't right.
What was that salary?
Well, it was such a, you want me to tell you how much it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I made over $250,000.
Right on.
Almost 100. And I was making it, so I was like, wow, how do I walk away from that? And then I was torturing myself, but I was really unhappy at work. And I finally made the decision, to leave. And I spoke to a lot of people that I respected. I got their opinion. My husband was supportive. I finally was ready to tell my boss this was it. And the minute I did, I got an offer to interview with our top competitor, one of the best financial organizations in the world, and the salary was almost $500,000. And it came to me that when I smiled when I heard about it, because I actually went on the interviews. I went on the interviews, and I was ready to go for it. It was a global job. I'd be traveling all over the world, and it became very clear to me that I needed to leave because I felt like I felt like I was being chased by the money. The money was trapping me. And there was a concerted effort to keep me trapped. And I said, you know what? I'm going to break free of this. Why now? When I finally made this decision, did this money come pouring at me to take this other job? So I held true to myself and what I said I was going to do. And I went and told my manager, and he said, maybe you're just bored. How about another job? I said, nope, I really need to leave. let's pick a day that's going to be my last day. And he did ask me to stay 4 months, and I did stay those 4 months because
Okay.
I wanted to honor him, and he was good to me. So, and I didn't even know what I was going to do. But 2 weeks after I left, my business partner, Caroline Sinisa Levine, she and I started to sketch out a business that we could work out on our own, and it turned out to be SixFigureStart. So we are co-owners of this business, and I got an infusion of energy. I felt like a person again. I felt like I was doing what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
Because I started to help people. When I was in corporate, I would just interview people and just hire the best people. So if someone wasn't a good interviewer, I couldn't say, oh, by the way, you should have answered this way. I know you have the talent. You just weren't interviewing right. So now I'm able to tell people that it's liberating. You know, I wrote a blog. It was called True Confessions of a Corporate True of a Corporate Recruiter. And I got like 300 hits in the first hour. People loved it.
Whoa.
Because I was telling all the dirty little secrets that people free themselves with. And so I love that. I should do another one. I should do another True Confessions blog. Like, so, yeah. So it's liberating to leave my corporate job and the security that I had. I mean, I wasn't a single person where I'd have to buy insurance and all that, so I can't say that, you know, it was the bravest thing in the world, but it was liberating. And since then, in 2011, I did something I never thought I'd do. I became an author. Someone had read our blogs, and they loved them, and they paid us to write a book. And it's called 6 Steps to Job Search Success. It's a textbook on the job search, and it's been adopted by 25 universities across the country, and
Right on.
potentially one in Canada. I will
Ooh.
tell you. Nova Scotia. Is Nova Scotia part of
Yeah,
Canada?
of course. Yep.
How-
Just above
I-
Maine.
My geography, shame on me. So, you know, some great things have happened, and I was telling you earlier that this past year, I surpassed my corporate salary for the first time,
Yes.
and myself, wow, that is so super cool. And then the next minute, I was like, who cares? You know, it was just like a minute where I felt so good. But I think that part of it has to do with being true to yourself, being authentic with what you want to do, and finding that beat, you know, that inner energy. I remember walking in the streets of Manhattan, and I loved being there, you know. When I loved being there, that's where I wanted to be. Now I feel that way again. I love being where I am. I love it. I have a home office. I'm in the city about 2 times a week, and but usually I'm sitting here working in my office with my dog snoring on the couch next to my computer, and really happy, having a good time, and I'm hopefully helping other people be happy. So.
Right on. That is so cool. So I have one question left, and then we're going to find out about how we can get in touch with you. This is a question that I am going around and asking a heap of people because I think it's so important. And I'm going to publish the results when I get 1,000 people.
Nice.
Okay? Ready for
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
What are you looking for in life?
What a good question. I am looking to be free. I like to be totally free of where I can make decisions that I really want, that I'm not encumbered by financial restraints or restraints of what people think I should be doing. I want to make decisions based on what I want to do, and I want to be free. So I want to be free. Spend the afternoon walking my dog on the beach if I want. I want to be free to go visit somebody if I want to visit my aunt, you know, who's not feeling well. I want to go have lunch with someone if, you know, if they're recovering from surgery. I mean, I just want to do what comes to whatever I want to do. And eventually, I want to go to the Galapagos Islands. That's something I want to do.
Cool.
Scuba dive in the Galapagos. So I like to travel, but I really want to be free of limiting thoughts. thoughts that say, I can't do this or I can't do that. That's what I really want to be free of, limiting thoughts.
Wow. That's awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool. And so on target with the topic of being authentic and getting what you want. Because as you're being authentic, Connie, you are getting what you want and you are living what you want. And as an audience right now, I'm sure that the wisdom that Connie has shown and shared with you and how she's been authentic has been a great demonstration as well as to what you can do to get what you want. So be you. Be everything that you've been designed to be. And as I said in the opening, you are amazingly created. So just know that you're absolutely amazing, and that as your authentic, amazing self, you can just have what you want and just be, and so much more. Connie, it's been awesome having you on our show. Take it away. Tell us how we can get to know you more. Tell us what you're about. Where can we find you?
Sure. You can find me at SixFigureStart.com. That's my website. My email is Connie, Connie, at SixFigureStart.com. And we write a blog about career success. Check that out. You could even search the blog by, putting in a keyword like networking or interviewing, or we write fun. I love the movies, so I write job lessons learned from different movies like Jaws or Aliens or anything.
All right.
Yeah, my favorite was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. There were 3 job search lessons learned in that movie. So I like to have fun with the movies, and please come and visit. We have a ton of free resources. Of course, I do coaching one-on-one. We do group coaching as well. We have our book, 6 Steps to Job Search Success. But there's a ton of free resources, so I would love to see you there.
Right on. So that's SixFigureStart.com.
Yes.
Connie, it's been a privilege having you on our show. Thank you so much for sharing about authenticity and being a great demonstrator of authenticity as well.
Thank you, Scott. It was my pleasure to be here. You just the perfect end to a good day. So
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. And for you in the audience, thank you so much for joining us. We're proud to launch this show as a show that's all about life coaching that'll make a difference in your life. So welcome again to Abundance Coaching TV. Until we chat again, live with passion and have abundance in life.